Hi friends, it's Renee Bradshaw. Happy full blood moon in October here. If you've stumbled across this reading, I believe it would work for you because for some reason you were pulled here to look at this, and that wasn't me dragging you here. Something brought you here. This reading will really apply for October 5th through the 19th of October when we switch into the new moon phase, but some of the things take, excuse me for clearing my throat. I still am having a little bit of a lingering cold upper crud that I'm getting rid of. But this is the time that the earth is kind of, if you live in the areas where we get fall, this is the time of year where the earth is kind of dying off, and we see, all the leaves are falling. The animals that have been fattened for the kill are being slaughtered, and the animals that are being fattened for the winter are going, and hiding their food, storing their nuts. Nuts, that's a funny word. Anyways, the veil is thinning between us and the other side, whatever you want to call it, the fairy realm, the heaven, the afterlife, the soul's place, Summerland, whatever you want to call it, it's thinning. And I designed a little spread, a little 9-card spread, a 9-card spread that that's designed to go along with this particular full moon. And so I'm going to do that for you. Like I said, this will work for anyone who's found this. It should work for anyone who's found this through the 19th of October. And also, if you want to do this for yourself, feel free. It's available in my Etsy shop as well, which you can find by searching Witchy Renee Bradshaw. And if you use a coupon code, thank you YouTube, thank you YouTube, also down below in the comments, then you'll get 10% off your order. I flipped my deck upside down. I thought this was going to be big enough. It's a little tiny. I'm using a satin piece of fabric that a friend gave me to make an altar cloth with, and I still haven't made the altar cloth. I'm slow when it comes to sewing, but I thought it'd be a fun color with it being the blood moon today. Okay, so our first card is Where Are You Now? So the tagline for this card, which is the 9 of Cups. Wonder if I can zoom in. Nope, not when it's facing this way. Okay, so the 9 of Cups, and I think the tagline for this card goes something like, nobody likes a smug witch. You've worked hard and long for something, and you've either just achieved it or you're well on your way to achieving it. It's coming close. But either way, don't count all those chickens before they hatch, and don't count all those cups of... Oh, hello. Don't count all those cups of water before the wave comes and knocks them over when it takes out the sandcastle. Everything is fragile, and it could go at any time. There's no reason why you can't enjoy your success and why you can't be proud of what you've done, But just remember, just because you're successful today doesn't mean you will be tomorrow. Anything could happen. If you just made, say, a bonus at work, something come up, car troubles, and you have to spend that money to get the car fixed instead of spending it on doing something new with your house like you had planned on. We see here, when I look at this card, I see a witch meditating. She's in peace, she's relaxing, but there's chaos coming in a couple different directions. And the thing is, like the wave, this could be high tide. We don't know. That could be as high as this wave's going to go. It's not going to knock over that castle. But the crab, is it a crab? Yeah. The crab and the witch's cat are right there fighting at her side. Don't completely take your eyes off of dangers that could come up and snag and end your success. Keep an eye on them, but also do meditate, do enjoy your success that you've worked so hard for. But just remember, just because you're successful right now doesn't mean that wave won't come up and knock your castle over and take out all the cups that you've worked so hard to build. But I don't think this necessarily means that something is coming to destroy those, because a little bit of that too, it goes back to smugness. Even if the wave and the cat and the crab are not really a threat and aren't going to do anything to your castle, how is walking around saying, oh, I've completed this and I've earned this and I'm doing this, to people that are still working on that, trying to complete that? It's not, nobody likes a smug witch. We'll just say that. So just make sure you're staying humble and keeping an eye on dangers that could jump out, but do enjoy your success. Okay, and card two. Card two is something you have successfully released or are in the process of releasing. Check out our witch here. She's carrying all these brooms. Now, how many brooms does a witch need to fly? I don't think she needs all 10 of those to fly, do you? She just needs the one. She's carrying all these other brooms for 9 other witches. Her cat friend is sitting there on her shoulder telling her, hey, put some of these down. Tell somebody else to pick up some of the slack. So something that you've either recently released or are working on releasing is you've been picking up burdens for other people. Either someone's been having you do their work, whether that's at a place of business or at the house, or if they haven't been having you do their work, you're doing things that other people could be doing. Maybe you have children and you've been, older children, middle school aged or something like that, just for an example, and they could be helping with chores around the house, but instead you're working full time and you're coming home and you're doing all the chores around the house. You could probably ask them to do a few of those. If you're at work and your boss gives you a deadline and a big project, and you know that so and so aren't very busy right now, maybe you could ask them to help you. Or maybe it's something that other people are stepping back from and you're just picking up the slack. Maybe someone at work isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing and you're doing the entire project. And you're working on either releasing these burdens, dropping them on the ground, or if you're determined to carry these burdens to the top, figure out how you can get the credit and reward that you deserve, because that is an awful lot of work for other people to get the credit for. You're going to get to the top of that mountain and then hand everyone their broom and they're all going to fly off and you're going to be exhausted and you're not going to want to fly anywhere. This card is under the veil a little bit. Not that veil, but it's something you need to release or need to let go of, that you can't accept or you can't see right now, that you need to let go of this. Ooh, the Queen of Swords. She's very smart. She's a scholar. She's got all these scrolls behind her. She's her sword. She cuts right to the heart of something, or right to the intellect of something. Hey, look, she's carrying her own broom. She's not relying on somebody else to carry it for her. So this can either represent you or or someone else close in your life right now that maybe you need to cut, or not literally, please don't cut anybody, but that maybe you just need to release them from your life, or step back a little bit from being so close to them. But she is a bullshit cutter. She goes straight to the heart. So it makes me look at, if you're working on dropping some of these brooms and not being the one carrying the entire burden, and now she's a no nonsense straight shooter that goes straight, cuts the bullshit, goes right to the heart of the problem. I wonder if maybe in trying to do this, you're being too cutthroat, or perhaps there's someone around you that you're carrying a broom for that's being too cutthroat, not being polite about needing help or anything like that, and maybe they need to be cut out of your life. But yeah, I would definitely, I'm leaning more towards this is you. This is representative of you trying to do this step right here, trying to cut things out. And yeah, we can get frustrated, and I mean, it's just like, enough is enough. But it's like, if you're just letting someone do something and do something and do something, and all of a sudden you're like, that's it, I've had enough, without any kind of warning or any kind of talking, it's going to become as stressful for them. It's scary for them. They didn't realize, well, I bet some of them definitely did realize they were putting a lot of work on you, but not everyone realizes that they're putting a lot of work on someone else. So maybe figure out, you're wise, you're very wise. Figure out who it is that's on your side, that doesn't know they're doing this to you, that doesn't know maybe that you're juggling 20 different plates while they're only juggling 3. Talk to them. Give them that nice sandwich. I think you're doing a good job, but I'm doing a lot more work than you, and I really need help with this project that you've dumped on my plate. And I think you're super smart, or you collate that package so well that I know you could do an amazing job on this. Also, when I'm doing the readings, some of the symbols, they won't be relevant for every single person, every single reading. But if you're ever looking at a card and you notice little things in there, like maybe these stars on the back of her chair, maybe that has, maybe there's stars and you're hanging on your children's wall in the bedroom that are like those glow in the dark stars. And they're the ones that are like, haven't been doing chores forever. And now you're like, that's it, you're doing chores, blah! Look for little indicators that something in the card is speaking directly to you. Now the 4th card is what positives are in your life right now that you can't see. So this is interesting for a positive in your life you cannot see. It is the 7 of Swords, and she's sneaking into this library, and she's either stealing these swords or placing them in there. But where I find this most interesting here is this is a positive, and this is something you're trying to release right now. But so what I really think is that you have started releasing, I can't reach, releasing some of these things, because you've gone from carrying 10 wands to only carrying 7 swords. No, you're not even carrying 7 swords. 2 already on the wall, and 1 of these belongs to you. So that's 3. And then that gives you 4. Yes, my math is awesome. So that gives you 4 swords that you're carrying instead of 10, 9 that don't belong to you. So 9 that you're carrying the burden for other people. So now your burden has gotten smaller. And maybe this is you're down to the last few people that you need to be like, hey guys, can you please carry some of the slack? Or maybe this is now you're only carrying your family's slack, or your department's slack, or your shop. Instead of like trying to coordinate something for every shop in the mall, maybe you're just coordinating something for your shop now. So maybe this, I definitely see this though. I understand how this is a positive, and this is something you're releasing. This is progress you've gone from carrying 10 to 5. So okay, now so the blood moon, a lot of times, a lot of your full moons have history, going back hundreds of years, or farmers and such, ranchers, families. That's when they used to do night work, because the moon would light it up, so they could work longer in the day, back before they had power and stuff like we do now. So the blood moon, they would stay up late, they would have the full moon, they would use it to slaughter their animals sometimes, and that's one of the ways the nickname of the blood moon came around. But most of you probably won't be slaughtering a bunch of animals in the middle of the night right now in 2017. I mean, you could be, that's cool, but this is what the full moon of the light, the light of the full moon shines upon you. Okay, so I had to hop up really quick because my daughter, my 3-year-old, woke up with a dream. She's convinced there's a ghost in her room lately, so I had to run up there really quick, get her situated, and now I'm back. Okay, so this was what the light of the moon can shine on you. Oh, here are my pups. I don't know if you can hear my dogs. Anyways, this is the Eight of Swords, and she is in an emotional state. She feels incredibly trapped. This bluebird is kind of trying to tell you, hey, whatever situation you're in right now, there is a glimmer of hope. But some of this is actually just your mental state. You're such an awful fog about a certain situation, and you have good reason to be. There's a lot of things that are coming down out of the sky at you. A lot of swords piercing the ground around you. Now I know you hear my dogs, unless my microphone is really good at canceling sound. But one thing I always mention about this is she's got ribbons tied around her wrists, but they're not actually tied. She's got she's holding them down. So if you can see that. Oh. But yeah, so there's something going on right now for you that makes you feel like it's the end of maybe not like the end of the world, but it's kind of thrown you out of whack. And you need to kind of, I don't really say shut down your emotions a lot, but just kind of leave your emotions to the side of the equation for just a moment. At least you can assess the situation rationally. Kind of those emotions are what's wrapped around your wrist right now. You're like so confused and upset that you're kind of tied yourself up in knots. And if you slow down and kind of look at everything like more rationally and less with your emotion, which is super hard to do. I have a hard time. We all have a hard time with that. But you'll see, like, look at the cat who's pushing over the sword. I think as soon as your emotions are quieted and you can maybe make a pros and cons list, or whatever works for your situation, I think as soon as you do that, this cat's going to be able to start pushing down swords, and you're going to be able to get through. After all, your broom and your hat are laying right there, and hey, that's quite the improvement from carrying 10 brooms to 1, right? But yeah, so the light of the moon is shining, is like opening your eyes right now. It wants you to take off that veil, or blindfold. Take off the blindfold, take off your binds, and figure out how to get out of this situation that's driving you nuts. And I mean, it could be anything. It could be like, a problem with one of the teachers at your kid's school, or maybe a bill you need to pay, a problem with someone in your neighborhood. It could be as simple as, oh no, my shows are all on the same night. How am I ever going to see them? Well, just get one of those pay-per-view channel things, like, then you can see it. I don't, you know what I mean? But like, just take a deep breath, look around, push the swords out of the way, and realize it's not as bad as you've gotten yourself to think. Maybe it is a really crappy situation. Maybe it is like the end of your world, but there is a way to get out of it. You can't do that when you're all tied up, though. So we've gone over, where you are now, things that you're kind of having to work through, a positive thing that's coming out of this. Something the moon is going to shine down. And, kind of if you look at that, it's kind of like she's outside. And like maybe that is moonlight just lighting up around her. Now we're going to see, if you kind of do these other things, what you can do then to make your desires manifest after you kind of work through some of this other stuff here that's holding you down maybe. Okay, so this is the Emperor, and he's sitting here outside on his throne. He can represent a male figure in your life. He could even be a female figure, but the key here is, or any gender. He could be any gender figure in your life. But the key here is he is wise and studious and follows things by the rules. So, if your situation is at work or maybe even at home, you could get your boss or your spouse to back you up. But on the chance that this isn't the figure, then it would represent you, what you're doing for your desires. For your desires, you need to work hard, probably harder than you've ever had to. Keep pushing forward. Don't become a person who does something for a hobby. Become the expert on that. The people don't, get manifest desires and win trophy. Well, gosh, I'm having a hard time getting this. The words here together, which is funny because I'm a writer. But let me look at this card. Like, he's got these rocks behind him, so it's been a rocky path, and he had a path through this mountain range to get to where he is. So all I really see here is hard work. A lot of times it's about order, and I think if we're talking about this situation going on here, maybe you need to use your strength and your voice to cause order in this world. And I kind of see, if this is a situation at work, going to your boss, whether that be in person or if you have an anonymous way to do it, but I feel like it should be in person. But everyone's work is different. What happened to my candle? I just realized it's not burning. That's weird. What? I'll be curious to go back and see when the candle went out. But yeah, so I think this is just work hard, show your strength, push forward, do what you know is right, and the situation is going to come out for you. Because that's a lot of what this card is about. It's about being authoritative. And maybe your desire is to have a higher standing in work, or where you volunteer, or get your kids to listen to you better. And maybe by doing all these things here, you'll accomplish that and you'll become more of the person in charge. Okay, here we have prepare for change, which this is awesome. This is definitely a celebration card. There's streamers, there's the wands, everybody's happy, the cats are happy, nobody's arguing. There's a Disney type castle in the background. There's a park down here, so it's like we're gonna get together at the park and have a big old witchy party, and they're celebrating success. And this could be your success. It could be success of someone else who's very close to you, and you're going to celebrate that success for them. Perhaps you've been on the journey for the long time, or your friend or family member has been on the journey for a long time, or somebody at your work that you're supportive of. there's going to be success though coming up sometime in the next few weeks. And I mean, it could be something huge. It could be like a promotion. It could be getting a house that they wanted, that buying a car that you wanted. It could be something, you know, a little bit smaller, like everybody makes it home from sports and work and everything for dinner on your son's birthday. You know, it's like, it could be something that is cause for you for celebration. It doesn't always have to be huge to celebrate. Being together with family and friends is cause for celebration, and it looks like you've got something pretty awesome coming up, and it's going to kind of cover a lot of what's been going on here. It's going to I think the light is going to shine so big here that this will dim as you get further away from finishing this up. Because as we've said, this is something that you've been in the process of releasing. So I think once that is released, maybe that's when the celebration will happen. But this is something that's definitely long time coming, and you're going to really look forward to it, especially after all this hard work. And I mean, seeing this card here and this card here, the Emperor for success and hard work, that makes sense that, you know, celebration will be coming right afterwards, you know. So perhaps this was you're the coach of your daughter's volleyball team, or you got employee of the month or something, you know, something that puts you in an authoritative position that's going to have cause for celebration shortly after. Now, this card, the Knight of Cups, this position is a message from ancestors or friends that have passed. Now, whether you believe in spirits or not, the veil is thinner this time of year. And this doesn't have to be something that's, if you don't believe in there's an afterlife, you don't believe that the spirits come back and talk to you, that's fine. This could have been something that they thought about before they passed away, that they wanted you to know. To me, it has a few different meanings, but what I'm getting from in this particular spot with this card is just love. Whoever this is, this friend, this family member, they could have passed this year. I had someone very close in my family pass this year. They could have passed a couple years ago, you know, but something they want you to know is just that they love you very much. Sometimes this card too can mean that you're thinking too much with your heart and your emotions and not thinking it all with your brain, which we kind of talked about here with this card. So if you think that a relative or a family member or a friend, who may have passed might be sending you a message that you're thinking too emotionally, that you're jumping into something too fast with your emotions, and it might not be a good idea. If that speaks to you, I would listen to that, but mostly I believe this card is just about love. They probably didn't get a chance to tell you they loved you or how much they loved you right before they passed. Like if you see the cat, she's reaching for her heart. It's like just out of reach. And I think they felt really bad for not being able to communicate that with you. I didn't get to speak to my grandpa for quite a few months before he passed, just because he wasn't much of a phone person at that point. And so this speaks directly to me. He just wanted to remind me that he loved me. So okay, so this is connected to this card here. It is this position. This is how can we honor those that came before us? How can we honor this ancestor, this relative, friends, anyone that came before us and that has, left a mark on this world? How can we honor them? And I see that as pretty awesome right there. Just being giving, being loving. She remembers that even though, she's in this great standing right now, she remembers where she came from. She's handing, flowers out to the other people. Not obviously. who, uh, based on their clothing, I would say, they have a lower social status than she does, less money. But she remembers them. She remembers that she didn't do this on her own. She remembers that they came before her, or they helped her, they taught her, they loved her. And because of that, she's found success. And I think that's very important when you're thinking about the person that you feel like this card that represented someone who had passed. I think that is very important to remember. We remember them, we honor them by continuing the traditions that they did, by handing out knowledge, remembering that they're the ones that taught us, or came before us, or worked hard for anything. But yeah, that I think that's an excellent message. It's just always to remember those who came before us. And that was, to me, I thought that was important to add to this blood moon. Blood moon one, especially in October, Halloween, different traditions, different religions, believe the veil has thinned this month, and that our ancestors and dearly departed are closer to us right now than they are any other time of year, that we can understand them better than we can any other time of year. And I think that, to me, I just thought that was would be a good addition to this. And I hope it didn't offend anyone that I added this in here. I know sometimes some people, they have a more recent loss, or are more sensitive to passings. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this reading. And if just in time for her to come down. But I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you want to buy your own reading, have this more tailored directly to you,
Mommy, I saw something.
Instead of to instead of a group of people, which this can work really well for anyone who's discovered this video on their own today. We were drawn here for a reason. I think if you're feeling like you want something more direct, you can go to my shop. The address is down below in the comments, and I'm going to put it right here too. And then also, if you use the coupon code when you get there, thank you, YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. No, just thank you to you. Thank you, YouTube. If you just use that when you get there, you'll get 10% off of anything in the shop. I've got a lot of different readings. I'm adding more every few days of types of readings that I want to share with people, and I have a few other trinkets in there. I'm an author, and I'm offering selling my signed copies of my books in there too. But yeah, I hope you have a blessed blood moon, and that you're feeling like this helped you. Bye.